All right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Shalom, shalom, and shalom, Sister Deborah. Coming this, what time is it? Morning, afternoon. It's afternoon. With a message this Sunday afternoon. The title of the message, Let Us Try to Unwrap the Verses. Let us try. We're going to try to unwrap the verses, meaning we're going to talk about verses that's throughout the study guide, and we're going to try to spirit in the spirit realm, unwrap the verses so that we can understand it in the natural. Okay. uh the title of this message again is Let Us Try to Unwrap the Verses. Okay. uh the Father gave me something about an hour ago, and me myself, I was trying to do something with it, meaning after knowing this, what is it that I could actually do with it, or how must I apply this which the Spirit has just revealed to me? What Deborah must learn, which she has not learned, she's learning, is that everything is not for everybody. And because the Most High has not only given it to you, He has taught it to you, and He has entered into you, so you can't expect individuals to get what He is giving you, because He's giving it to you from the inner part where He resides. So therefore, uh, Sister Deborah need to really work on the understanding that is not going to let individuals understand everything. Okay. Matter of fact, a lot of things. Oh, yes, a lot of things. So today, my topic is Let Us Try to Unwrap the Verses. But I want to give you what the Father gave me. And it had to do with AI. AI. AI is a computer system designed to perform tasks that typically require a human intelligence. That's what AI is. But what the Father was sharing with me, and y'all listen to this, He said, okay, Deborah, you know AI. And all within me, I'm hearing Him, and I'm not responding like yay or no, but He said, AI. And then He began to tell me, do I understand what it is? He said, you see how you understand the level of the flesh, and how the flesh is sin, and how the flesh is death. You understand that what AI is coming to be at a higher level than flesh itself. So if flesh is sin and death, imagine what this intelligent that's coming to perform in a system that they design. It's coming to perform tasks typically required by human intelligence. So what is it doing? It's climbing on top of flesh to override the flesh that He has suffered to be created on the earth. So even though you don't see the darkness in AI, even though you think that, oh, it's just AI, it is nothing, the way they have smeared it inside, the way they have smoothed it on in, is off the chain. People thinking it's all good and great and, you know, how would I say it, perfect in this. Everybody is putting themselves into the realm of a system that the Ruach is telling me that's coming to even override the flesh of man. Now we know that the flesh of man is sin and it is death. In me, I'm like saying to the Father, so if AI is going on above sin and above death and above the flesh, then what does that say to the people? What is that? What is that? What there's a warning. That is some sort of warning to warn the people. And listen to how they did it. They started on your phone. They started with Lexus, and they put that all in your house, on your system, on your watch, on your phone, on your doorbell. They gave it to you every way possible that looks as if it's so intelligent. But one thing I want to share with you all that you have no idea. There's something and someone that's greater than AI, IA, in it all. But he wanted me to understand that people have no idea what AI is. It's coming to override flesh. So if flesh is already evil and wicked, sinful, iniquity, and against the Most High, what is this coming that's above the flesh? AI is a computer system designed to perform the tasks that typically required human intelligence. So it's going above human intelligence. So what is it we really getting? People don't care about that. People don't know about it. And it doesn't faze them that AI is before them. I see a lot of most of them. I'm going to go on set a good probably 85, maybe 90 YouTubers. They're all of them that been on here. They decided to go AI. The pictures they get is off of AI. Now they decide not to come like you see me. They decide to only do videos behind the AI picture that they put before you. And they then try to talk about AI and what AI is and how it's negative and it's evil, but yet you're using everything AI has to offer. So AI is powerful than flesh itself. Because if it got people thinking that what it is greater than even who they are, then it's dangerous than Sister Deborah would ever do any study on. It don't even make any sense for me to do an in-depth study on what it's coming to do, what it's doing, what it has done. I never got involved in anything that I have to ask questions like Lexus and what's that other? It's another one that they got, and all these different systems. All these different systems that come to actually usher you in by making the AI system normal. And now here you are, you have people on YouTube talking about they'll teach you the class and how to use AI. But it's too late. I believe AI was a beast that came up that no one saw. Mm-hmm. Have to be. Why you say that, Deborah? Because AI is a computer system designed to perform tasks above humans. You see? So if your worst enemy is yourself, what the Father is saying to me is, Deborah, there's an enemy beyond now yourself. Yourself is your worst enemy. Now there is an enemy above you. I mean, meaning at the highest on the earth above you. There's an enemy that AI is a enemy above your flesh being an enemy to you. Now you got a system an intelligent system that's now your enemy, and you your own worst enemy. Now, do you see, Deborah, where I'm going with this? And when I said that, and I said, oh my Father, I don't think people really know anything about that. They don't. They don't. It's something when he said, he that endure unto the end. Oh, you going to be saved, because you shall be saved. Because what is this you enduring? Why is it it's wanting you to know he that endure until the end shall, not might, or thinking about it, or not sure, but shall be saved, because they enduring knowing truth. Truth. They endure knowing truth in a world where there's no truth in the hearts of men and women, males and females. And to me, that's very, very powerful. So it brings me back to why these little things here be letting you know about long suffering and endurance. And he says here, he that endure until the end. Now, what the end is not the end for you to come from one location to Mount Zion. The end is the end for you. We all have a different end. My end could be today. Your end can be tomorrow. Someone else can be next year. The end of our living is what he's speaking to. He that endure until the end of their living shall be saved. Say, for instance, some are still here and goes over to Mount Zion. Regardless of how you might build up on end, the end in which he want us to apply to us is the end that he has us down for. Like, we come in and we go out. So if you endure until the end could be also going to Mount Zion. Okay? It don't mean that, it's just letting you know you're going to endure something. Oh, that thing is opening up behind me. I'm like, what's that? We are here that endure. We are going to endure something. And because that which we going to endure, he said, you shall, without a doubt, be saved. Because what I have decided to just embrace is the fact that the endurance is not for everybody. Meaning, a pastor can teach to a congregation of 100. And this endurance in which he said shall endure until the end shall be saved, is not for that 100 members sitting in the sanctuary and the pastor teaching them. He that endure until the end shall be saved. That's not speaking to who the pastor speaking to. It's speaking to who Yah is speaking to, who endure. He knows that what we're down here in, when we are in righteousness, resting in his bosom, that we too shall endure, knowing truth in the midst of a world that is untruth. That's where the endurance is. Knowing righteous, but in the midst of a world that is unrighteous. And you just endure it. You long suffer it until the end. And the end could be you going to Mount Zion, you going to the kingdom, you going to your last day of living. That's still the end. But he's let the key and the mystery of he that endure until the end shall be saved. It is a mystery. And this is one reason why they can't stand on the mountaintop and preach and teach that, because they want you to think what they want you to think as far as the word endurance. He ain't saying endure all this trash and this evil in the world is what's going to allow you to be saved. Y'all got a bent. He's saying you enduring being in righteous, living in a world that's unrighteous, and you endure it, knowing that you're in with the righteous will of the Father in the midst of a world that serves, lives, eat, breathe, desire unrighteous. But you have to endure it, knowing the truth of the whole matter. And many of you have no idea what that means. You have no idea the ideal of endurance, period, in which Yah says Yeshua HaMashiach endured until the end. It's the same endurance. He was 100% righteous in the midst of a world that was 100% unrighteous, and he endured until the end. See, that's what y'all didn't understand, because people don't understand what that endurance means. It means something very important. It means you are the ones that stand on the spiritual side with Yah. But he got you down here in the world, got you down here in the world and letting you behold all the wicked of the world, and what you have to endure it. You have to long suffer it until the end that he has predestined for you. But he said, what? Oh, you the saved one. You the saved one. Because it doesn't serve a purpose for you to endure and not no outcome in the end. You have to endure something. But see, today, in this world today, nobody wants to endure anything. They want to live and die as the world has set it up. They want to live and die the way the world think it, feel it, act it, portray it, and then die. So long, we'll see you on the other side. So they think. But even me have to endure the people who has that mindset, because you're enduring knowing that the Ruach live in you, and you're among people who have no idea who, or nor do they care about a Ruach or the Holy Spirit or a creator. But you has to endure until the end. And enduring is righteousness among unrighteous. Okay? That's what Yeshua did. Okay? So the Father told me, he said, Deborah, AI is a computer. He didn't say that this here part, but I'm going to tell you a part. He said, but AI is a computer system designed to perform tasks that typically require human intelligence. Let me tell you the power punch on top of it. This is what Yah said to me, and he said it out of nowhere, because he know I don't deal with AI, but I don't know why he just come up out of nowhere saying this. He said, you have to understand the worstest enemy is flesh. Okay? The worstest enemy is flesh. Your own worstest enemy is flesh. But what he wanted me to understand, you got to, Deborah, understand that AI is coming to be above your flesh. So if your flesh is your own worst enemy, now you got something that's going to be your worst enemy while you your own worst enemy. AI is your worst enemy now. And just imagine, AI is your worst enemy, and then you your own worst enemy. That's showing you how Yah has allowed them to reach this level, to have this sort of intelligence that perform tasks that typically is required for human intelligence. So it is created to override all the wicked and evil and be above it. And I know I'm saying something and it's going over your head, and it should, because I started this message with letting you know everything ain't for everybody. And just I'm learning it. I don't know it all. When I come, I have to move this here out the way. I can't believe it came onto my computer here. It came onto my computer, but I have to accept the fact that this AI that they already have it. It's already a system. I'm gonna set an example. You know how they keep saying the fallen angel, this here coming, this here coming. Everybody focus is, they should be say this way, it's this way. Because they're not seeing nothing that's actually before them. AI is a system that is going to overpower flesh. Flesh is what? You got to get this, y'all. Flesh is sin and death. Flesh is sin and death. Flesh is sin and death. When Yah is saying to his prophetess that AI is above sin and death. You get it? That's what he said. So why people are looking this way when they should be looking that way, Yah is saying, I'm not coming to show them the way to see, to look, to turn. I'm coming to bring light out of darkness that had been held by darkness, had been in captivity by darkness. And that's going to be my end. That's going to be my end. He's not coming, like I said, like people thinking, to rechange them and to do them over. So today my message is a very good message, because we're going to let us try to unwrap the verses. Let us try. We're going to just try to unwrap the verses. And the reason why I want to do this is because this is very interesting. And Sister Deborah going to read a verse, and we're going to try to unwrap the verse in which Sister Deborah reads. The first verse is coming from the book of James. The book of James, chapter 1, and we're going to start with 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. But we're going to start with 14, and we're going to unwrap what it is saying. Let's go to verse James chapter 1, and let's start with verse 14. It says, but every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. What do you think that means? James chapter 1, verse 14. How can we unwrap that verse? Every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. What can we say that actually that verse is actually saying? Can we unwrap it, or is it just plainly seen as it is? Every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust. What is lust? Can we define the word lust? Because a lot of people always thinking lust is a sexual thing and a sexual thing only. No, it isn't. Who can tell me what is lust? And then that might help us understand the verse and how to unwrap the verse. Okay, we got, he is tempted by his own flesh. That's true. Very good. So you unwrap that, and that's what he's saying. His own flesh. You see? So that is true. And someone says, every man falls short to his own fleshly desire. See, you got it again. Okay. I believe it means we're all flesh and can sin. And that's exactly what it said. That's very good, because it says, for every man is tempted. So that answered that one, that all of us are tempted, and he's talking about what? Our flesh. Okay. And then the word lust, here it is. And then we get here with the word lust, and lust mean desire. So let's put desire instead of the word lust, and maybe we could totally unwrap this verse. Let's go there. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own desires and enticed. So it means desire. Okay. So it's like he said, in a man's eyes is clean in his own eyes. So you're right. He's talking about the flesh. He's talking about in the first part of it, every man is tempted. So that means all of us have sinned. He's talking about the flesh and the sin within it, and he's talking about our desires. The flesh has a desire that comes along with it. It can be called lust. It can be called desire. It means the same thing. Having a desire in our flesh and enticed. Can somebody tell me what is the meaning of enticed? Enticed. So we know that lust means desire, because when every time we say lust, everybody think it's a sexual thing, and it feels good to be able to us to stand here today and understand that lust means just simply a heavy desire to please the flesh, to get what the flesh want. Okay. Every man is tempted and drawn away in their own flesh desire. There you go. You said that. You nailed that. You rewrote it, didn't you? When that, you see, right? What we did is we just unwrapped it. We unwrapped that real quick, because what you just put here, you said every man is tempted and drawn away by their own flesh desire. Bam. We just wrapped it. There it is. You just wrapped it. So we can go to verse 15, because that's the okay. Entice means persuade. So it's going back to persuade. It's their own desires. Okay. Entice means drawn and pulling, doing something against their own will. Okay. So we know that, let me see here. Entice, the word entice alone is persuaded, and you move, and you going based on your own movement, in a sense, in your own way. Okay. I'm trying to get, and enticing is also a word that is misleading. So even though you doing your own, you going by your own desire, but it's like, you being misled by what? Your flesh. So we finish with that. But this is where it get hard. It's when we get to verse 15. It gets harder and harder and harder. And we finna unwrap. We did an excellent job unwrapping verse 14. Very good. Very good. Now let's see what 15 is saying. Then when lust has conceived. So let's put desire back there. So let's finish it first. When the verse 15 says, when lust have conceived, it bring forth sin. You see that? So it's saying, then when our desires have conceived, it bring forth sin. You see? Now, if we could take that lust and put it, we just finna play with it a little bit, with the idea of how a child is born. I learned something yesterday, and I was speaking to Yah, was that early this morning, about how I appreciate him being in me, allowing me to teach those two messages, part 1 and part 2, because it did something to me. It did something for me and to me and in me, to know that sin is what the flesh is. We come here, we are conceived by sin. What you mean? Flesh on flesh. Man and woman. Flesh on flesh. That sperm is flesh. That egg is flesh. Everything in the making, conceiving of that child is flesh. It's only when the child is born is he given the gift of life. Is he given through that gift of life is Yah's breath and a spirit for that child. That's after he born. So if this is what I'm showing y'all how the spirit blessed me yesterday, I don't look for it to bless nobody else because it's first. If I'm going to speak it, I've got to let it cross me first. Meaning what? I have to salute that bad boy. You see, I have to. How would I say it? I have to feel that thing. I have to grip that thing, and I did. And I'm not going to sit here and tell y'all that I do not appreciate the Most High Yah giving that message to me, part one and part two, because I appreciate him doing it, because I told him, I said, Father, you taught me so much. I know how to appreciate the Creator. I know how to tell him how I appreciate him, because just that message alone still brought me to a level of making sure I let him know I want to honor you. I want to magnify you. I want to glorify you because you forever teaching me why I'm on this earth. You ain't just letting me get out here in the world and do all these other things and be about the world and the things of the flesh. You here coming and teaching me from the inside. You showing me things. You revealing things to me. Even when you know the people ain't gonna get it, it don't stop you from giving it to me. So I have a reason to magnify him. I have a reason to glorify him. I have a reason to edify him and uplift him and magnify him in every shape, form, and fashion. Because I'm glorifying him in the things of his spirit that he sits and he teach me. And I said to the Father, I say, very many couldn't grip it. They couldn't understand it. And the power that rests there in it. But I want to say to you, Father, thank you for even letting me live to know you, because that's what it's about. We have lived all these years. We are up in age. And even if we ain't up in age, we still act like we newborn children that don't know nothing and don't care to know nothing. And all that he keep pouring out and giving, we act like he ain't giving us nothing because we so content with what we have on the outside, to where we don't know how to glorify him from the inside out, because we put everything on the outside to be more important than whatever he's sharing with me. But I, Sister Deborah, stand here today and I say this sinful body of mine. I'm like David and like Paul. Those are my brethren. In the spirit are they. I say the same thing. I'm not perfect. I sin. I have iniquity. And wicked could be found in me from the eyes of Yah. But I tell you this, ain't nothing greater than him living in me that overrides all that I am in the flesh. Because he taught me the other day that, see, David said it. See, go over here to Paul, Deborah. See, Paul said it. See, Deborah had always been here. And he was in Romans 1 tell you that truth been here from when it came down with us. It was in us. Because the breath of life is truth itself. See, you didn't know that, did you? How dare you think a spiritual Yah will give you his image and his breath of life and then leave you truthless? The breath of life and the spirit that he blown in you, like unto his image, was truth resting in you. But your flesh couldn't comprehend that light of the image of Yah in you. Yo, I'm gonna show you how sick people are. They don't even understand that life is not your life as a breath of life. It is the breath of life that he gave you. But we still live the way of our flesh. And then you look at people who tell you all cockeyed as if they don't really know what they talking about. It ain't all that. It ain't all that. But I today, early this morning, I think it was like 3:30, I told the Father how I appreciate him. And I don't know, I don't even know why that came to me. Dangerous part one and dangerous part two. It came to me, and I just began to tell him, thank you. Because, Father, that was, I learned. And even though he gave it to me before I gave it to you, I was learning. I learned it when he gave it to me, and I learned it while I was still giving it to you. Blessed be the Most High Yah. Praise the Most High Yah. So let's go to James chapter 1, verse 15. Okay. And it says, then when lust, the desire, have conceived, it bringeth forth sin. That's like a woman having a child. So when you think of all this curse that Eve had, it was because of the flesh sin. As they say, we just saying, what they say. Okay. Everything that was cursed on her robbed her body. Why? It was only tampering with her flesh. When you conceive, when you bring forth child, the desire of your husband, you see, he shall rule over you. Why would y'all want flesh to rule over flesh? This is why you get people who are marrying people and they didn't understand what a marriage really is. This is why Yah say, seek ye the kingdom first, so that you can go in a marriage equal in the spirit. But what happened is they didn't really grip it. They didn't know, y'all, and they didn't care to know. Why do you say that, Deborah? Why they didn't care to know? Because here it is, 2025. It's been, what, 10, 12, maybe 13,000 years ago. And here it is. They still doing it the wicked way. They still have the wicked understanding. Now watch this. As he continued to talk to me about why, it's because there's more to it. When a man leaveth his mother and he cleave to his wife, they become one flesh. When do y'all know what y'all feel about flesh? One flesh. That should have woke everybody up. One flesh. Because when you understand how Yah category our flesh, like we talking about. Who was that? David said, let me see what he said. David said in Psalms, listen to this here. This is why I said that message was so good to me. David said in Psalms 51, watch this here. In verse 5, David said, behold, I was sharpened in iniquity, which is shaped in. I was shapen in iniquity. I mean, his flesh was in his womb. It was already shaped in iniquity. Now watch this here. And in sin, Deborah, in sin did my mother conceive me. See, we thinking sex is something that, Yah created for us to get pleasure. We keep losing Yah because Yah is not the author of the flesh. He's the author of the spirit. He's the creator of the flesh, but he is not the author, meaning he leaves you out there when it comes down to flesh. He only wants to deal with you spiritual. So David is actually letting us know the truth of the whole matter. And Paul says something similar because we keep thinking, oh, when a child is in our womb and we are pregnant, oh, that's a gift from Yah, and this did. We've been lying for thousands of years. It's only become a gift to the earth when that breath of life, that child take that first breath. You know how they used to take the babies by the feet and turn them upside down and hit their bottom, because nothing was more important about that baby. That baby can be a 9 pound. They didn't care what that baby was. All the doctors look for is that breath. When that baby come out of that woman's womb, why is it they looking for that breath? Ain't that baby living in her? You study checking the heart monitor and the heartbeat. Ain't that baby looking? What's important? To know pediatrician, those who deliver babies, they will tell you they desire to hear the breath of life. They're not looking for nothing. So back in the days, they used to, when that baby come out, they flip that baby upside down, hold the feet, bam, bam. You would have thought that would have what they call child abuse. The baby needed to them a breath, and that was all important to them. If that baby take that first breath, many of you all have no idea. You don't even have no idea of what I'm saying. That shows you that the breath of life is something that enters after you come out and is born. Yah give you the breath of life, and when he blow into you, he blow an image like into himself. He gives you a spirit. That's why he said, the light shineth, but the flesh comprehend it not. You see? So when we running around here and we want, in this day and time, we want Yah to do so much, but we don't want to know nothing about really how he orchestrated things and how he's going to end things. Nobody don't want to hear all that because they so busy wanting to hear the lie that gives them that comfort for their what? Flesh. That's why many people who said, Lord, Lord, I don't go with the word Lord, Yah, baby, he wants you to know, don't pay it no mind. It don't mean nothing. So going back to verse 5 in James, it's sending another message. It's sending a verse, James chapter 1, and it was verse 5. Listen to what it says. Oh, I lost my page. James chapter 1 and verse 15. I'm sorry. James chapter 1 and verse 15. Then when lust, meaning desire, has conceived. Now it looks like desire has conceived. We could say the word that they use also for sexual lust. But listen to what it says. Has conceived. It bring forth sin. What is sin? Flesh. And see, people running around here thinking, oh, all babies go back to heavens. All babies, they ain't innocent. They ain't done nothing. You don't measure the kingdom, baby. My Father in heaven, he got that taken care of. He measured them from what he knew and where he have already written them. Not where you think they should go because they a baby and they innocent. He knows their innocence in the spirit, while you trying to grip it as a little newborn baby in the flesh. The flesh of that baby is sin and death. What is it people don't get? What they don't want to receive. It is sin and death. And here it's saying in verse 15, James chapter 1 and verse 15, then when the desires have conceived, it bring forth sin. Watch this here. And sin, when it is finished. bring forth death. So you see what flesh is, y'all? Sin and death. That's all your flesh and any flesh is. You see? That's what this one here, I broke that one already down, but that's what that one is. That's verse 15. But now 16, I think it's 17, I'm going to really let you all handle that. But in 15, I'm going to break it down again. James chapter 1, verse 15. Then when desire, which is lust, have conceived, it bring forth sin. And sin, when it is finished, bring forth death. That is exactly what he was telling Adam in the garden. If you take up the tree of good and evil, good and the knowledge of good and evil, you shall truly die. He brought and ushered in that which he said. You sinned and you brought in death. So when we run around here thinking and we keep putting so much emphasis on people's flesh and who they are as a person and who they are as a human being or who they are as all these titles. In Yah, like David said, I have wicked, sin, death, iniquity, all of who I am. Paul turned around and said, even when I try to do good, it does not override the evil, the wicked, and the sin that in me I do. So they telling us there is a member in us from head to toe, which is our flesh, that is not a friend of Yah. So that shows you we can't go around here thinking we can serve him out of this outer man. We got to meet him where he's at in the inner man. That's why he said in Romans, Deborah, I put it in them. Why? Because if this is what he's saying, I put it in them because I gave them my breath. I gave them my image. Anytime you have anything of me, you got some truth. But he said they turned it and made it a lie. And I can say the same thing today because that's how I see things. And people will say, well, that's how you see it. That's your opinion. You know what people do? You know why people tell y'all that? They say, well, see, that's your opinion. That's your interpretation. That's how you see it. That's how you feel it because they want you to keep everything in the realm of the flesh. They don't want you to talk in the realm of the spirit. But y'all have learned that Sister Deborah is spirit and truth. See, and that's why people don't teach spirit and truth because they want to keep it in the midst of the way of the flesh. And that's the way people want to live and die in the midst of the way of the flesh and let themselves live the way of the flesh and die the way of the flesh. And believe it or not, hell was enlarging just for that reason. And hell was not enlarging, had a broad gate just for that reason. Because people are taking their flesh and making it and putting it up on pedestals and not even understand y'all ain't dealing with your nasty flesh. And then you wonder why is it the healing and the miracles and the signs and wonders ain't bring forth like Yeshua said. Y'all should do greater and more miracles and signs and wonders. You don't see none of them. But now when the Antichrist in them come, you're going to see their power. You're going to be seeing their that's how people going to be manipulated. They going to see the power of the Antichrist and the miracles and signs of the Antichrist. Why? Because they ain't seen it of any from nowhere else. Because people live their flesh. Let me get to verse 16. Now we in James chapter 1 and verse 16. It says, do not err, my beloved brethren. He's sitting here telling them because he knows that the mindset of people, they got things backwards and it's butt backwards to me and it's upside down backwards. They just messed up. But what gets me is Yah allow it. So if he allow it, he already know what is written. That it's going according on the earth as it is in the heavens. Now, James says, do not err, my beloved brethren. He's telling them, don't err. Don't get it bent. That's what he said. Don't get this bent. Now, see if anyone can actually uh, unwrap this verse 17. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above and coming down from the Father of lights, with whom is no variableness, neither shadow of turning. Meaning it ain't gonna turn. It's gonna come down like he sun it down. It's going to come down like he sun it down. So who can unwrap verse 17? Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above. What is that meaning? What is James chapter 1 verse 17? Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above. What does that mean? Yeah, the babe needs his own breath. Because he gets his own spirit. Yes. Adam was drawn away by the desire of his flesh. Exactly. Yes. The experience in the other day. They want to defend the flesh. That's all it is. Everybody you see on YouTube, any of these platforms, everybody wants to defend the flesh. And they ain't gonna have it no other way. Every spiritual gift comes from Yah. Okay, that's what it says. But what does it mean? The Most High Yah has given all of us gifts. So it says the Most High Yah has given us, has given all of us. You say given all of us gifts. Okay. Notice 16. What do 16 tell you? Do not err. That means don't get this bent. Don't get this bent. So when we come down to 17, we got to nail it. Let's see if we can unwrap verse 17. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above. Every good gift and every perfect gift. Now you see the word good gift and perfect gift. When did Yah usher perfect gift to everyone? He's speaking of every good gift and every perfect gift is from above and coming down from the Father of lights, whom and with whom is no variableness, neither shadow of turning. So is verse 17 actually saying, from based on you unwrapping verse 17, would you say that verse 17, every good gift and perfect gift is from above? Meaning everybody got it from above. Everybody. No one can receive nothing except it comes from the Spirit of Yah, right? That's true. When he blew his breath into us. So are we saying by unwrapping it, when he blew his breath in us, it gave us every good gift and it gave us every perfect gift? Are we saying when he blew his breath into us, that was the good gift and the perfect gift? Okay. Is that what we're saying? And then someone says, okay, you say yes. Okay. And then someone says, from the kingdom. Okay. So when we're looking at here and we see this and it's saying that um, the gift, the good gifts and the perfect gift, the good gift and the perfect gift is from above. And it says, every good gift and perfect gift from above and come down from the Father of the lights. Hmm? With so the lights represent what you say. What would we say the light represent? If now we got to find that good gift and that perfect gift. I think someone said it was the breath that he blew in us. Okay. Okay. So what is and it comes down from the Father of lights, spirit. Okay. So you say in spirit, which with whom is no variableness, neither shadow of turning. So how can we just wrap verse 17? In few words, how could we just simply unwrap verse 17? Hmm? How we can so can we unwrap verse 17 by saying the good gift and the perfect gift from above, it come down from the Father and it of lights. Can we actually say that that's his breath and his image that it is really speaking of, which is also, one might say, is the uh, gift of Yah? What it is that talking about the Ruach that dwell in us, that light is what he gave us. Let me share that with you here in the Gospel of John, chapter 1 and verse 4 and 5. In him was life, and the life was light of men. Okay? To give them the light of men. That means the spirit. Okay? Verse 5, and the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehend it not. So here it's showing you the Father of lights. That means the Father of the spirits, okay, with whom is no variableness, neither shadow of turning. So let me see. What is that talking about? The Ruach. It's the image, which is our spirit. He gave us our spirit like unto his spirit. His image of him is a spirit. So he gave us a spirit. Okay. Oh, your battery is dying out. Sorry to hear that. So verse 17 is still to me. Let me see. Let me see what I believe he gives good gifts and allow hard things to come to. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yes. It ain't that he allowed because he don't want us to say it like I think sin, because of sin and death, like that. You see how David, I don't know if you heard the message yesterday, how David and Paul was owning it. And that's all Yah wanted us to do, is own that sin, identify it for what it is, and choose him. But see what the world's saying, no, we can't identify because we don't want to claim that our flesh is sin. We don't want to claim death. But sin and death come hand in hand. One, you're going to have one and the other standing, holding hands. You ain't going to get away with having just death and not sin. You ain't going to just have sin and not have death. They come hand in hand. Okay. So, we have here, I'm still stuck on 17. So I guess we might have to, uh, that good gift and that perfect gift is from above. And we could say that's the breath of life. And we could say that's the image that he gave us of himself, which is a light, which is a spirit. We can say that that is good and that is perfect. Why? Because it's not a part of the flesh. So we can actually claim that. We can actually name that because the good gifts could be the breath of life and his image, which is a light he gave us, which is our spirit. He blew it in. How we got the spirit is through the breath. So that's the light, an image like unto him. So we can say that that is even perfect. Why? Because it's not a part of the flesh. The breath of life and our spirit is not a part of the flesh. And if you really had any sense, you'll think about, wait a minute. That's why he gave us a spirit, like unto his spirit, like unto his image, because he knew that he was coming to abide in us. And he needed a place to abide in us because he has no dealing with our flesh. And you would never get these people to preach and teach that because everybody will walk away and never return because people want their flesh to get the glory. People want their flesh to get the praise. They want to be exalted. They want to be magnified. They want to be looked at. They want to be on high when it come down to their flesh. You see what I'm saying? Okay, so let's go to the last verse in James, and we're not going to enter long verses after this one. This was just one I wanted to get into. Verse 18 said, of his own will begot he us with the word of truth. Now, do y'all get that? I want somebody to tell me what that's saying. Tell me exactly what that's saying. Let me break it down again. Verse 18, of his own will begot he us with the word of truth. That's deep, y'all. That's really beautiful. Okay. It says, of his own will. Begot us, he us, with the word of truth, that we shall be a kind of first fruit of his creation. And that verse 18 letting you know it is his will that he begot us that has the word of truth. The word of truth, okay, is what brought us forth, and the power, the word spoke and the power brought forth. Those that are the first kind of first fruit of his creation. He had his own, and that's his will. His own will set his own first no kind of first fruit of creation. His will already had his first fruit already handpicked. Let's put it like that. That's what his will allowed. Okay. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to go into some things, and it's going to really shock many of you all. And we're going to start off in Isaiah chapter 54. In Isaiah chapter 54, we're going to unwrap what it is. This verse is saying. And I'm going to leave it for you. I'm going to read it and I'm going to leave it for you to see if you can unwrap Isaiah chapter 54 and verse 17. In Isaiah chapter 54 and verse 17, and we're going to unwrap verse 17. Listen to this. Isaiah 54, verse 17. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the inheritance of the saints of Yah, and their righteousness is of me, said the Most High Yah. What is going on in Isaiah 54 and verse 17? He does his own choosing, right, to birth and is elect, right. That was in John 18, yes. Okay. So here in Isaiah 54 and verse 17, no weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that rise up against thee in judgment shall be condemned. This is the inherit of the saints, the servants of Yah, and their righteousness is of me, said the Most High Yah. So he's letting you know no weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper. You cannot prosper using weapons that one form against a certain and certain's servants. It has an S of the Most High Yah. Okay. And every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment, thou shalt condemn. He's letting individuals that are the servants know that you can actually condemn those who rise up against thee in judgment, of those who form weapons against thee shall prosper. Nothing they do will prosper. Meaning, okay, let's say for instance me, if I go after a servant of the Most High Yah, it might appear that I have formed a weapon against them and I'm successfully getting the victory. It might appear that way because it's happened. That's what happens in a lot of these churches. Look at the Roman Catholics. Look how many little boys and little girls that these people didn't molested. They got the biggest pedophile ring in this world. Yes. And it appeared that they are prospering. Because with me, from what I see, look like everybody prospering doing wrong. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but that's the way it appeared to me. Seemed like everything everybody doing, they're being successful in doing wrong. That's the way it appeared. But he wants you to know it won't prosper. They won't get far. You see? And every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment, thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the saints. He only talking about the saints, not the saints, the servants of Yah. And their righteousness is me. See, that's what, didn't I tell y'all that? See, if Yah say he is all righteous, okay, let's say for instance, if Yah is all righteous, okay, he's all power, okay, he's all wisdom, he's all knowledge, if he is all understanding, then what is he in you if he's not all that and some? This is why greater is he that is in thee than he that's in the world. Why? Because he's covered by all this. And when he is all of this and he's in you, that makes you what he is. And that's what I'll try to say to you all. How could Yah live in you, inside of you, and you not have his name? See, we want the name on the flesh. But we didn't understand. No, I ain't gonna say we. They don't understand the name is in the spirit where Yah abide. Your spirit knows his name because the name lives in your spirit where Yah is. That's where he come to abide. So what the world wants to do, they got a probably 20 million different names for a creator. Everybody got their own name. That's why it can't be one of them can't have the name. It's secret, you guys. If he is in you, in your spirit, it does not change that he ain't who he is. His name reside in your spirit. And when you know him like that, you don't even have to speak the words for someone to know him. You know him from the inside out. Words that people don't even know that's in you. So this is why the world can't, they are getting away with this thing about, oh, the name is this, the name is this, the name is this. How dare you hold the name but not hold the spirit? To me, it just don't make sense. But this is where people's minds are at. And it's not going nowhere. This is it. Okay. So here in verse Isaiah 54 and verse 17, it says, no weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment shall be condemned. Because people think they can just look at you and category who you are, what you are not from the flesh, not knowing the spirit of who you are. So I was explaining to someone last night, that's the reason why he say, if you want to know something, Deborah, try the spirit by the spirit. Because the flesh is loaded with sin. You got to find out if this person, spirit, they come down here as the spiritual seed or they come down here as the a serpent seed. But the way you know is by their spirit. That's why he said, try the spirit by the spirit. But people don't want to do that. They want to look at you and judge you. They want to look at you and think that they know who you are. They want to see how you dressing, how you look on the outside, how your head wrapped, or if you don't have no makeup, no earrings, if you have on fringes, if you got on jewelry saying Yah, when he said don't put a wood and stone, don't use his name on that mess, but they ain't using his name, but worshiping. When you put that on your neck, you telling your flesh, oh, this is the creator. Creator ain't on your flesh, on stone and metal. Why dare y'all? He didn't told them don't do that. It don't matter. That's why I say Torah can't be brought up today. Torah didn't keep Torah when they were back there. So if you bring it up today, you worse than yesterday. So how is worse than yesterday gonna keep yesterday? Ooh, Deborah, no, you didn't go there. I just know you didn't go there. So how today is capable of upholding yesterday when yesterday didn't uphold yesterday? So if today is worse than yesterday, so how's the worstest time in living can uphold yesterday when it's worse than yesterday? And yes, yesterday couldn't uphold yesterday. I know y'all didn't catch that. Bam! It went all the way over, but it's okay. But I like the Father said in Isaiah 54 and verse 17, I like that where he says, for their righteous is of me. Why? Because if I'm in them, in my servants, Deborah, I reside. There's righteous faith, fear, belief. There's hope. There's power. There's teaching. There's all this of who Yah is in his servant. So how dare you tell Yah they don't know the name? They not only know the name, they have the name within. And the name you got on the outside is not the name. Because the name represents the spirit of who he is, not the flesh in who you want to name. You see? Okay. So I like that one. First John. No, let me go to Psalms 139. In Psalms 139 and verse 13. Psalms 139 Psalms 139 and verse 13 and 14. Psalms 139 and 13 and 14. For thou hast possessed my ruins. Thou hast covered me in my mother's womb. Verse 14, I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works, and that my spirit knoweth right well. Me knowing righteous well. Now, the sad part is about that is in Psalms 139, verse 13 and 14, you can read that and it speaks what it says. But people still wouldn't grip what it's saying. So let us unwrap this verse. The first one is Psalms 139 and verse 13. For thou hast possessed my ruins. Thou hast covered me in my mother's womb. What is it that he has possessed? What would you say verse 13 is saying? Thou hast possessed my ruins. Thou hast covered me in my mother's womb. See, this is another thing that people never, and I keep saying I'm going to teach that, but I'm going to have to teach what took place before the foundation of the world again. And it's not going to be so much as teaching. I'm going to just take that bad boy up, and I'm just going to land that bad boy down, because it's no need in trying to teach people that cannot be taught what took place before the foundation of the world, because what took place before the foundation of the world is so powerful to where people can't really just accept what they never heard. You see, and that's why when the Holy Spirit, which is the Ruach HaKodesh, is in you, then He Himself would allow your spirit to understand it and get it, just like that. And a lot of people don't understand before the foundation of the world is when everything was done. See, we think it was done on the earth. No, earth is like it is in heaven. So that tells you earth don't have the keys to the kingdom. Earth don't even have the keys to the earth. The kingdom does. So when we understand that heavens holds the keys and stop making everybody believe and feel that no, it's down here on the earth. It's down here on the earth. Like, for instance, watch this. If the promise was, and this is the greatest promise, that He would come and He would abide in us. He's going to join our spirit and He's going to teach us. He's going to comfort us. But before He get to teaching us and comforting us, He said, I'm going to bring that power. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But see, therefore, if He's going to do all of this and come in us with power, with comfort, teaching us all things, bringing things to our remembrance, showing us things to come, what is on the outside that can override all that He come to bring in us? What is it on the outside that can override that? So it's the name of the Most High Yah. It's not what you say on the outside in your flesh. Read, people. He don't deal with your flesh. Your flesh cannot override your spirit. And if the Ruach is in your spirit, believe it or not, He's not concerned about your mouth knowing His name, which is your flesh. Your flesh is sin and death. He's worried about your spirit knowing who He is. Especially if He's greater in you than anything on the outside of you. How could a name on the outside which you speak be greater than the name of who He is on the inside of you? Shut up and sit down. Y'all need to stop that. It don't make sense. It ain't no sense in it. And that stuff been taught for so many thousands of years to He even category this day being the worstest day ever. that ever hit the time. And we don't see that worse. He didn't even told us, he didn't told us that today, the end days is worse than any other day. And we sitting here trying to make today so beautiful. But how are we doing that with our flesh? So here in Psalms 139 in verse 13, it says, "For thou hast possessed my ruins. Thou hast covered me in my mother's womb." What is he talking about? His mother's womb is flesh. And flesh is sin and death. So what is it that you're seeing? For thou hast possessed my ruins. He's letting you know I got you in the spirit of who you are. And because we reject him from that end, that's why we on the tail end today, calling ourselves the head, not understanding, no, bro, you on the tail end. You are nowhere near the head because you on the end that don't know nothing. You on the end that goes straight through the broad gate. Not the broad gate. So here he said, you did this. You have possessed me in my ruins. Thou has covered me in my mother's womb. See, we thinking that he's speaking of the flesh. No, that's why y'all need to understand the lesson. I'm gonna try. I can't say for sure I'm gonna teach what took place before the foundation of the world tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central Time. To give people a little a look at how we have been taught all these years that earth rules. We are told that earth rules and that the heavens has to match the earth. No, earth has to match what's in the heaven. I don't know where we getting off thinking that the heavens have to bow down to the earth. No, no, no. Earth's gonna have to bow down to the heavens. Do they have to? No, 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 no. Because heavens already knew that they wouldn't. So he ain't worried about it. He ain't up in heaven's boo-hooing because you ain't gripping anything in spirit and truth. He ain't crying about that when he know that he had already written everyone and everything that they are about is already written. While we down here clowning in a way that we think we know where we written in eternal. Okay. So in verse 14, it says, and understand a woman's womb is sin. A man's sperm is sin. Those are all flesh. We do not understand. We have to be able to understand spirit and truth. You don't receive the breath of life, nor your own spirit, which is the image of Yah, until you come out of your mother's flesh. While you in your mother's flesh, you just flesh on flesh. That's why David said in Psalms 51, I was conceived, I was shaped in iniquity, I was conceived in sin. You see? David and Paul says the same thing, but you can't get people to put one and two together, which is I'm quite sure it's probably 1,200 and more, but the people see it the way people teach them and not from what Yah said he would teach you. Yah said, I would teach you spirit and truth. Nobody don't want to hear it from that end. They don't want to hear it because it's spirit and truth. They can't show up and show out. They can't dress a certain way, look a certain way, act a certain way, eat a certain way, walk a certain way, talk a certain way, wear their fringes, wrap their head. When things are in the spirit, guess what? You can't be seen in the flesh unless the Ruach is in you, teaching you how to look in the flesh. And even when you look like you holier than thou, you still loaded with sin and iniquity. So you still can't erase the fact that you are sin and you are death and you are loaded with iniquity in that flesh. So the flesh is cutting up from the floor up right here today on this earth. This is all flesh. So what he did, and this is what he told me early this morning. He said, Deborah, do you know I wanted to assure y'all what he already knew. I don't deal with AI or IA. He said, but no, I want you to get this. AI is finna override sin and death. Because that's what it's coming to do. So people don't even know they're about to see hell on earth. Because anytime your flesh is your worst enemy, and Yah has allowed them to create an intelligence that overrides a human. That means if your flesh is human and you already your worst enemy, what do you think AI about to do to you and through you? So you running around here without the spirit of Yah to be able to keep these things off of you, but it's too late now. It's over. The AI is announcing to human flesh, which is sin and death, I'm coming to override you. When the Father shared that with me this morning, I was like, and I felt good because he was letting me know that you're not in that, but I'm letting you know because I don't deal with AI. Everybody on these devil platforms do. Everybody. That's what they pictures is from AI. They choose all kind of things from AI. They go to AI asking questions. They go, why are you going to all that? When greater is he that is supposed to be in you, who have all the answer to all the things, whether it's heaven and earth, whether it's under the uttermost darkness, chained down in hell, he has the answer to it all. But you want to go where? To AI. See what AI say. You see? So Yah allowed them to come up with the creation that gonna override your flesh and your sin. So if your flesh and it's sin and death, just imagine what AI come to do to it. It's on, y'all. Even though y'all didn't know it, it is fully on. And that's what you hear a lot of Europeans say. Y'all don't understand what AI is. They don't care. Because they think they think it's going their way. No, it ain't, baby. No, it ain't. If sin is in the flesh, and sin is sin and death, and something is coming on the earth to be over it, what is that telling y'all? I know it, nothing. Because you think you got the power on the outside to deal with this type of power Yah has allowed them to have over the go or override even your worstest enemy, which is yourself. So you got something coming. So keep playing. So in verse 14, we in Psalms verse 139 and verse 14, I will praise thee, for I am fearfully, wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works. You see, who is this? David. I'm gonna tell you what David's doing. And that my spirit knoweth righteous well. So what David is saying to the Most High Yah, that he would praise the Most High Yah because all these things that he is, he's fearfully, he's wonderfully made, he's marvelous, and then he'd sit here and give Yah the glory for his work. What is he saying? I thank you for that power that made me fearfully, wonderfully, marvelous, or thy work. He letting him know, I appreciate you. Watch this here. And that my spirit knows righteous well. So he's letting y'all know that ain't none flesh in there. That has no detachment to flesh. He's praising Yah for the things that Yah has created his spirit to inherit. So we are down here on the earth wanting to and desiring to praise the flesh, We want to exalt the flesh. We want to magnify the flesh. We want to get the flesh all that it wants. But go back and go over that video, Dangerous, part 1 and part 2. The flesh, it makes you see why Yah has no dealing with the flesh at all. Then you go to Romans chapter 1, he turned around and said, when Deborah, I put it in there. So they are without no excuse. And I'm like, wait, hold up. Everybody got? Yeah, Deborah. Because anytime you got a taste of me, you have truth. I am truth. Oh, yes. I gave you a spirit like unto my spirit, and I called it my image. I am an image of a spirit, and I gave you an image of a spirit. I blew it into you, but I don't give it to you until you come into the world and you need that first breath. I'm the breath that you receive. Not your mama, not your daddy. They are. That's why you come into the world loaded with sin. People say, oh, the babies go back to heavens, baby. You better watch your mouth. Y'all know the spirit of them babies. He knows their destiny because he got it all written in the kingdom. Even Satan knows it's written. He turned around and told Yeshua when he was tempting him, it is written. He know it's written. Yeshua kept telling me, it is written. It is written. Then he turned around and told Yeshua, it is written. Satan did. So it's just amazing to me that Satan know more than the human beings on the earth regarding the Yah that gave us breath in life, the Yah that gave us an opportunity to accept him. And Satan sitting here knowing more than we know. And we thinking we top dogs and not even understand our flesh is sin and death. A woman conceive a child in sin and death. See, we make the flesh all that and some. And y'all have been all these thousands of years wanting us to recognize him. We cannot recognize Yah through the flesh, y'all. We got to recognize him through the spirit. He is a spirit. That's his image. So he said, I'm going to give you a spirit. I'm going to blow everybody that come into the earth. I'm going to give them the breath. And that breath is going to blow into them an image like unto me, which is a spirit. David is not sitting here telling you in Psalms 139, verse 14, that these things in which he has been made is flesh. Everything David is saying is in his spirit, not in his flesh. David began to tell the Most High in Psalms 51 and verse 4. He began to tell him, he say, let me show you what he said. Now listen to this, y'all. Tell me that you don't get me. Let me know. I know you ain't gonna get it, but I'm gonna still tell it. David said in verse 4, against thee and thee only have I sinned. He's sitting here telling the Father that he know that his flesh is against you. And my flesh is only against you. And then he turned around and tell the Father, I have sinned and done this evil in thy sight. Why is he telling him in his sight? Because the Most High sees all things. Listen to how King David is communicating with Yah. You know what's so beautiful about it? It's David has taught this prophet always on that thing. I know y'all sin. We do all kind of wickedness. We got all kind of lust. We got everything going in our lives, and we don't own none of it. And it's all wicked sin, iniquity against Yah. David called it out. David said in verse 4, Psalms 51 and verse 4, against thee. Well, who's against thee? Wait a minute, David. You out of Yah's own heart. What you mean you against? He says, my flesh, Deborah. Deborah, it's my flesh. It's against Yah. And then he says, and against Yah only. My flesh is my worst is in it, but it's against Yah only. Watch this here. Watch what it says to do. And it says, have I sinned and done this evil in thy sight? He's sitting here telling you he's against Yah. He do evil in the sight of Yah, and Yah only do he do evil in the sight of. And then he said that thou mightest be justified when thou speak it, and be clear when thou judge it. He's letting the Father know that everything about me in this flesh is against you. Do what you do best, Father. Justify that it may be justified when you speak, and clear when you judge it. Judge this flesh, because it's against you. It's against you, dead in your sight. Owning it. With Yah, when we own that thing, how do we own it? Because we letting our spirit have dominion over our flesh. See, you want to go to the altar, and you want to go to people and say, I'm sorry, I offend you. I said this. I like to apologize. All of that's flesh. That's all the flesh. That's all flesh. But until you go to the realm of the spirit to wash that repent with turning and sincere, you still got that same thing in you, because you're trying to role play it in the flesh. So people go around, they say it's so easy to say I'm sorry, or so easy to apologize, but they don't understand spiritual set free and apology and repent is just that. You can't just pull up and say did. But see, that's what people use and have been using since the world has been here. That's how easy it has been for them to continue in their wicked ways, because they don't have no repent in their spirit. Okay, so David was saying, and then Paul was saying, when I try to do right, I end up doing wrong, even though I know it's wrong. And I know the law of Yah is in me. And this is what a lot of people today don't know. There's two laws. There's a law of Yah, and there's a law of sin. See, a lot of people don't understand that law that you hear the Hebrew Israelite talking about. Keep the law, keep the commandment. That's for sin, that's for the flesh. They had no idea that Yah has a law of his own. See, they're thinking that they can go back to Torah and bring Torah into today. How can you bring Torah into today when Torah couldn't keep itself? But you want to bring Torah into today when today's supposed to be the worstest day like ever that ever been on the face of the earth. So how you gonna bring Torah into today where it's the worst, as it worse than whatever it has been today? How you gonna bring yesterday that wasn't kept into today that's so worse, sir, and think you're gonna keep yesterday? Yesterday couldn't keep itself. Sit your tails down and know that Holy Spirit, that Ruach is greater of the Most High God. That Ruach HaKodesh is greater than this mess we keep on mending our flesh. And the hurt is, the endurance is, that's the true long suffering, is to know truth, to be on here speaking truth, and it is fully not accepted. Just like the Father. He said, it's like unto me. They accept everything everybody teach them, as long as it's dealing with the flesh and it's giving the flesh what it needs. But when it come down to teaching them, your flesh don't get this victory. Only Yah himself. But people want that part of the flesh because it makes them think that they are in there. But see, David and Paul already let y'all know. The flesh, your own flesh, is your worst enemy. So if your own flesh is your worst enemy, just imagine how your flesh is an enemy to the Creator. Hello. Because the only thing sin and death was put on in the garden was flesh. Was flesh. And what people want to do, they want to walk in the way of the flesh, to please the way of the flesh, and assume that they're walking in a direction to the kingdom, and they're walking in the direction to the lake of fire. Because I had no idea. I had no idea until I read it in Revelation that the Father showed it to me and made it clear. You know, the grave where everybody is buried? Y'all's going to lift the grades and drop it into the lake of fire. Why? Because those that are in the grave are sin and death. We that's on the earth is sin and death. But we are holding life in us. But we are flesh, which is sin and death. Again, when a man and a woman and she conceived sin all over. Why? Because she conceiving flesh. She's birthing flesh. And I explained to you all once before. That's why the abortion and all this mess they talk about, you're only aborting flesh. And flesh is sin and death. Life comes only once you enter out of your mother's womb into the world. And when you enter in a few days, you're full of trouble. Why? Because you are flesh. And Yah is only going to measure you by what he got you written in the kingdom. So you can come down here and live, 3 hours? You can live 1 hour. You can live 20 hours. Born 1 hour, 10 hours, 3 hours, 20 hours. But guess what? If you die after 20 hours, you die after 10 hours, or you die after 3 hours, or even if you die after 1 hour, if you have received the breath. Some situations, the doctors would take the child and put them on life support to give them that breath. Then that child have not received the breath of life. Okay? But those who have been blown in through their nostrils, the breath of Yah through their nostrils, and it blows into them a spirit. Whether they live or whether they die, they're going to have to stand for judgment. They're standing for judgment based on what is already written in the kingdom, not what you say in the flesh. You notice when someone lose their lives or someone pass away, you notice everybody put all these lies of good things about the individual. And it's a sad thing that that's what people are made up of, lies. When that person was living, you didn't deal with him. You hated him. You didn't care for him, and this and this and this. Now that person have died, you saying all these good things about him, and then you make sure let people think that they are in the kingdom already with their ticket in front of Yah. And you know what? Want me to tell you how that happened? A lot of the places of worship and a lot of the churches and the places of worship and where people gather and minister and teach, they have taught the people that being dead is you going to glory. But what they fail to realize, he reversed it and told us he didn't reverse it. He said it. We reversed it. He said, to be born, you cry. To die, you rejoice. Because when you're born of sin and death. And when you die, you rejoice because no more are you born of sin and death. Now you at sleep to be judged by the Most High Yah. What man do? When you're born, they give you a party, they rejoicing, they happy. And when you're dead, they boo-hooing. So they reversed it. Because he said, when you're born, you cry. When you die, you rejoice. But do you see how the flesh of man has reversed everything Yah put forth? If Yah said go left, they went right and they took you right with them. Y'all said up, they go down, and they took you right down with them. And you were smiling all the way. Every direction they have led the flesh of people, they went the direction smiling, not even knowing where their eternal stand. Because they figured, hey, I ain't worried about that. I'll cross that bridge when they get there. But y'all want me to let you know there won't be a bridge. There will not and shall not be a bridge for you to cross. Okay? So in the book of Jeremiah, this is my last verse, and I'm going to try to make it back at 7 p.m. Central Time. Let's just do this one verse in Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 9. I'm going to try to make it back at 7 p.m. Central Time. And we just going to have questions. It's going to be question night. I mean, you ask questions, and we are going to try, which is the live, and we'll try to answer the question if we can. If we can't, we have to seek the Ruach and ask him. But our goal is to try to be able to answer question that's put forth tonight at 7 p.m. Central Time. Now I'm going to Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 9, and it reads, "The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know?" Who can know? Those that are the servants of the Most High Yah, they can teach this thing. Now, Sister Deborah's sitting here reading this to you. And if you can understand it or not, if you can see it or not, it doesn't matter. Yah sent his servant to be a mouthpiece. And in Yah, he don't see male and female. Why? And I know a lot of y'all don't understand that, because he is feminine and he's masculine. We did not get feminine and masculine on the earth. We got it from the kingdom, Yah. Yah's image, he said he created. His image, his likeness, did he create male and female. So somewhere we got to understand, first and foremost, he's an image of a spirit. That's his image. It ain't an image of a black man or a black woman. It ain't no image of anything. See, this Hebrew Israelite cult and religion, they see the outer part. They want to teach out everything about the outer man. But I double dare them to teach you spirit and truth. They won't come near it. Because to teach spirit and truth, you have to have the Father's Spirit in you and the light in your right hand. You see? And that's what their religion did not know. That you want to make him a black man and a this and a that. But do you think Yeshua is sitting in the kingdom like the color of a flesh? Come on. No, he's sitting as a spirit as he was before he got down here. But the world want to put a race to him and a color. But if you can't take that race and color and make it spiritual, you cannot just stand on it being flesh. Because you prosper nothing. Because him being black didn't change nothing about you. You still as wicked can be. You still as evil can be. Loaded with iniquity and loaded with sin in your flesh. So what different in the flesh if he's black or not? You'd want to honor the fact that he's black in the flesh. Flesh can't serve Yah. People, that's why Yah came as Christ in the spirit of a flesh of a man, so he can walk him up and down this earth to complete the Father's will. And he kept telling y'all, it ain't me. It's my Father. Everything I'm doing is my Father. Everything I'm saying is my Father. The word is my Father. The miracles of signs and works is my Father. But we keep saying, oh, he's a black man. When you say he's a black man, it lowers your degree of what people say. People say you less than human. You are less than human when you can take a spiritual creator that came down and make him a black flesh and think that it's about the flesh of what he was and not the spirit of who he is. You see how sick people are? That's how gone. When I tell people it's over, this is why it's over. Because people by the trillion have been taught the lie and loved it, rolled on it high. They love the lie. And he said, my people, they perish due to lack of knowledge. Why? He said, Deborah, don't ever stop there. Because it says they reject knowledge. So I must reject not only them, Deborah, but generations to come. So if you're ever wondering, when you run around here talking about, oh, he black, he is not sitting up in no kingdom, nor is the Father with an afro and with dark skin or with brown skin. What is it you don't get? In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Yah, and the Word is Yah. The Word was with him in the beginning when he spoke. And when he came, what did he came? What did he come as? What was he come up? Did not he see himself as a spirit upon the deep? If he black, he couldn't see his spirit upon the deep, people. We don't want him to be a spirit because it don't fit our flesh, our wicked iniquity, our sin that's in our flesh. It don't fit it. And he came into his own, and he said his own didn't receive him. But yet we want to keep teaching and preaching it in a way that pleases and pleasures the flesh. We don't want to accept spirit and truth. Spirit and truth is what you call the word, the power, and the spirit of Yah. It's what people don't want to lean toward because they're in love with the way we can teach it out of the flesh. And flesh is only sin and death. So my issue that I had today, well, okay, if flesh is sin and death, that's why Paul say he was conceived in sin in his mother's womb. Because even the sperm is flesh. You see, we keep forgetting nothing about anything is spiritual, everything is flesh. Then you have to look at how Yah deal with flesh. When you go in your study guide, it tells you he have no dealings with flesh. That's why David was saying, I'm against you. I do wicked in your sight. He was telling them about his flesh. Because the flesh, you know what? It told y'all that the flesh is not subject to the law of Yah. Why? Because Yah did not make your flesh subject to his law. Only that spirit that he blew in you is subject to the law of Yah, because the law of Yah is spirit and it is truth. So we got two laws, a law of the flesh and the law of the spirit. And those that come to walk in the flesh, the Father told me they are not Deborah. Accept the truth. They are not subject to the law of me, which is Yah. That means they don't have to answer to the law of Yah. Why? Because they are wrapped in flesh. Their spirit comes to let their flesh rule. That's why born of the flesh or born of the spirit. When you born of the spirit, your spirit is born to follow Yah's spirit. And now that way are you subject to the law of Yah. Uh-huh. But when you're born of the flesh, you are not subjected. You are not subject to the law of the spirit. See, what they did not know, and I need to stop saying that because the Father keeps telling me, Deborah, don't forget Romans chapter 1. They know I put it in there. What they don't accept is the fact that you can't beat this sister down with the law and the commandment. You can go on, take them clowns out there that they've been following and all these different religions. Y'all clown y'all tail over in that circuit somewhere. Matter of fact, starting 2026, that should be your revolution, whatever, and get you some ticket to the clown show, the circus. Because if you ain't getting nowhere and walking nowhere in what is spirit and truth, you bound anyway to eternal place. Because the fact that everybody is loving on this flesh in the way of the flesh, in the way of doing the things in the flesh, in the way of pleasing the things in the flesh, and they have no spirit and truth wrapped up in them, and nor do they care. Nor do they care. And then they try to tell you about the law and the commandment. Sit your tails down. You can't tell this sister nothing. How can you tell me something when greater is he that's living in me than he that's on the outside of me? Tells me he's greater than you out here trying to tell me something. Can I hear spirit and truth on this outside? Yes, and I love it. Let me run up on it. I'll hold dear to it. But this mess that they out here teaching is only to keep the flesh fulfilling the way of the flesh, the understanding of the flesh, the wisdom of the flesh, the knowledge of the flesh, the interpretation of the flesh, the comprehension of the flesh. They have no idea. Everything that I'm category in the flesh, Yah has it in the spirit. For those who walk in the spirit. And those who walk in the flesh serve the things that pleasures and pleases and teaches and leadeth the flesh. I don't have to know his name like you know his name. I can just hum. I can say any word I want to say. You know why? The name is connected to his spirit. How dare you say your name ain't connected to your flesh? When Yah is a spirit, his name is connected to his spirit. And if his spirit in me, I got his name in me. And long as my spirit can identify his spirit and his spirit knows my spirit, I got his name down in me. And if I'm on the bed of affliction, I don't even have to muzzle my mouth. I mean, I don't even have to open my mouth. Greater is he. When you see him to be that great, you'll understand where I'm coming from. But if you ain't never seen him to be as great as he is in me, and you don't know what great is, which you don't, there's another great. There's a great of the flesh. See, people don't know that. They have no idea everything that the flesh has, the spirit has in the spirit realm. And this is what confuses people when they say the law. Now, it tells them they won't precept it, they won't line it, they won't little this and little that, they won't teach it. Why? Because if you don't have the real teacher in you, which is the Holy Spirit of the Most High Yah, that Yeshua had. See, y'all think Yeshua was all that and some. Yeshua didn't claim to be all that and some. He told you everything he come down here to do is of his Father. And you can hear the Father speaking as Christ in Yeshua's walk. You can hear the Father speaking. But only way you can hear him speaking is when the Ruach is in you and you can discern the voice of Christ speaking above Yeshua, the Son of Man. Go back and read it. You can hear I am pull up out of nowhere. You be saying, wait a minute, where you coming from? It's separate. I am is separate from Yeshua. When you in Matthew, Luke, and John, you can hear I am pull up and say something. That's Christ, y'all. That's the Father that came down here with the Son of Man. He's the Son of Yah. He created his only begotten Son out of himself and sent him down in the Son of Man. And Carl told us it is Emmanuel, meaning Yah in with us. And Yeshua come down. Here goes Yeshua come down in the beginning of his mission. Y'all, wait a minute. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. Repent for the kingdom. He was warning us from the flesh level. You better watch yourself. For the kingdom of the Most High is at now hand reach. And he walked. So if you all think for 1 minute they wanted to stone Mary because of Mary, if you all think at 1 minute the 3 wise men that were sent to seek and follow the star where the Messiah was being born and how the king wanted to take him out the moment he was born, y'all really believe it was because of the flesh, don't y'all? Oh, it's Mary flesh. They wanted to kill him. You really think it was the flesh? No, it was what was in him. Christ, meaning Yah the Father in Yeshua. That's what they were after. You think he hung up on the cross? No, he did. Yeshua, his purpose was to die in the flesh. Christ can't die in the flesh. The only begotten Son. He can't die in the flesh. He is Yah. That's why Yeshua was crying in Gethsemane and disappointed because the disciples kept falling asleep. What you worried about them falling asleep for? Devil, stop. No. Because the people today, Yeshua, still don't know that you were flesh. You were in the realm of the flesh, getting ready to complete the flesh mission that the Father sent you down here. But the Father wasn't going to let Christ be in you when you do. Then you begin to say, take away this bitter cup, not mine, but your will be done. Because you already knew that Christ had to come out of you for you to go to that cross as flesh to die for all man flesh. Christ, Yeshua was not dying for man's spirit. He was dying for man's flesh. So that Yah plan was to redeem the spirit of his spiritual seeds that got lost on the way back to his kingdom. How? Christ. Christ went into the grave with him, but he couldn't die on the cross with him. That's why you heard Yeshua say, why have thou forsaken me? He sure did forsake you. He sure did forsake you. He sure did forsake you. And trillion of people still today don't know what took place on that cross. I mean, you can say it's a cross, but I don't give a rest behind what it was. But it wasn't Yeshua. I mean, it wasn't Hamashiach on that cross. It was Yeshua, flesh of man. He could only wipe away the sin of the flesh so that those that are in the spirit that needed to be redeemed, which was the lost sheep of Israel that needed to be redeemed. Who are these lost sheep? Like unto Abraham, the spiritual seed, like unto Jacob, the spiritual seed, like unto Isaiah, the spiritual seed, like unto David, the spiritual seed. And I know you hate Solomon, but spiritual seed. And then like unto every servant of the Most High Yah that came down here in the spiritual seed. That's what Christ was coming to redeem back. Those that got lost. David and them was already asleep, but it come for the other ones that goes into the spiritual seed. So Christ came to redeem the spiritual seeds back to Yah. And to those who came down also as the believers, they were grafted back in. But Yeshua was the Son of Man, born of the flesh of a woman. Christ, which is Hamashiach, was the only begotten Son, born, created by Yah, to come down with Yeshua as Christ. So when you go into your study guide and you start to read and you see Christ all up in there, stand your tail down and know you're on holy ground. Christ is the Word, not these books. No lost books, no found books, no Torah, no nothing is the Word. Yah is the Word. He came down with Yeshua as the Word, as the Spirit of the Father, as all power. So all this old crap y'all down here teaching these people, all that is detached to flesh. When you teaching, stick to flesh then. You want to teach and rumble in the flesh, stick to flesh. But I guarantee you, Yeshua, if he could come back, he'll tell you, Deborah, you said that well. Because I was on that cross by myself. I even said, Abba, Abba, why have thou forsaken me? Because Christ couldn't be killed. He is the Father. And when you read your study guide and you start to see Christ hanging by itself, that's Hamashiach, the only begotten Son. That's the one that is the Father. So when he say baptizing in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Ruach, y'all know who he talking about? The only begotten, Hamashiach, the Christ. You can't get baptized in Yeshua. Yeshua was born of the flesh. He was the sacrifice of the flesh. You got to get baptized by the fire, the one that's born of the Spirit. First and foremost, no water can't can't deliver you. No water can't deliver you. Now, what do fire and water have in common? How dare you think that going down and being baptized in water is the key? No, you got to be baptized in the fire first and then take your tail in the water if you want to. But don't ever put the water before the fire. That's the baptism that even Yeshua had to go down in. You didn't know that, did you? That dove coming down was the power. His flesh had to be baptized, and that dove coming down was the key to being baptized by the fire. People wake up. I know it's late, and I know it's too late, and I know this the midnight hour, and it's the type of hour like no other, said the Most High God. That means it's worse than worse. But somewhere in you, somewhere on the outside of you, somewhere around you, because David didn't deny, Paul didn't deny that there was something in him that's causing him to do wrong. He didn't deny it. And it's a sad thing how everybody trying to execute Paul. But I got something to say to y'all about Paul right quick, and I'm out of here. One thing y'all don't understand, and it's not meant for you to understand because y'all let thousands of years go by and nobody still don't understand, even though it's 2025 and you still don't understand. But let me say this to you. When you come to the understanding that there's two parts to you, there's flesh and there's spirit. Your own flesh is your worst enemy. Okay? If your own flesh is your worst enemy, what do you think your flesh mean toward God, toward Yah? It's an enemy to Yah. If your flesh is your own enemy, your number one enemy, What do you think is your flesh to Yah? It's his enemy. We are all flesh, born into sin and death. So therefore, we have to find the real realm to Yah. The real realm to Yah is spirit. And how do we get there, Deborah? Through spirit and truth. Understand you have to separate the flesh from the spirit. As Yeshua was born of a woman, and he was the son of man, born of a woman, identifying the flesh. But what did he also represent? The spirit. And that's that same spirit that he warned us that will come back and live in us, that was in him. He even warned us about us having more power and having more miracles and signs than he did. Where's your power? Where's your miracles and signs? It's because you have not accepted what was in him. Because they didn't taught you it's about what your flesh on the outside want and control. It ain't got nothing to do with your spiritual man. So you just out there lost with the cause and without. And this is what people are living by. They did not want to tarry like the day of Pentecost in Acts and how they started the churches then. They didn't want that. And how the saints were added. They don't want that. They want to use their flesh to get to the kingdom. They want to call Yeshua and Jesus and Yeshua black. What when you say somebody black or you say somebody nationality, people, that's flesh. Flesh can't enter into the kingdom. Flesh cannot enter into the kingdom, people. So why do we want to ride on the fact that Yeshua was black? If we had the sense, we can put it in the right perspective while we are following Yeshua HaMashiach. But they're not even following. Why? Because you can't follow Yeshua as the Lion of Judah. He's the Son of Man, born of a woman, meaning flesh. That's what they wanted. He wanted you to understand. Yeshua is the Son of Man. He's born of a woman. That's letting you know he is flesh. But what we did, we took on him in the flesh without taking on Christ in the spirit, which Christ was the only begotten Son that Yah created of his own self to come down in the Son of Man. So the Son of Man and the Son of Yah can do the work of the Father as one. But we cannot, like we take all these books, these lost books, these found books, these Enoch, none of these books can bring you to the bosom of the Father. And if they can't bring you to the bosom of the Father, what is the bosom of the Father, Sister Deborah? Spirit and truth, to the light of the light degree. Yah is the ultimate light. Now one of them books can take you to that light. Now one of them books can take you to spirit and truth. Because these books are just that. These are man stories made up, added, taken away, smeared up and down. But when that Ruach comes and he's living in you, he would teach you all things, and he would put those books right in the right perspective. And he will not allow the books to override who he is. It's no way he's going to be the Word, was the Word, is the Word, and the Word was with him, and it was with him in the beginning for you all to make somebody think books is his Word. He said heaven and earth shall pass away, but his Word will remain because he is the Word. Make it make sense if you can. I, Sister Deborah, will be back at 7 p.m. Central Time. And I say unto you, it'll be about questions. Shalom and shalom. I appreciate each and every last one of you all in the live chat, and I will be back at 7 p.m. Central Time. Shalom and shalom.